I think me and Paulius were trying really, really hard when we started to talk about dick knives. There was so many jokes I could have thrown in there. You were talking about the dick knife handle is curved, and then it was 5 centimeters, and then it was a big dick knife. And
yeah.
This is Ben from Common Knives, and you're listening to the High Carbon Podcast.
Welcome, guys, to the first official new intro song. I mean, we had it last week on the Low Carbon podcast, and for our Patreon members who don't know, the Low Carbon is just like a little bonus after show for the Patreon members that are paying at the minimum €1 per month. It's like a little unedited version, which kind of gave Albert a heart attack because he wanted to edit it, but we put it out. I think it was all right.
It was good, yeah.
It was so fun to record that. And now our listeners can appreciate the work that Albert is doing because the audio is almost unaltered.
You know, we actually got like a nice compliment from Jeff Fado when we told him that you edit the episodes. He was like, "Oh, he does." So if people don't notice that you're editing it, then they're not even thinking about it like sounding bad or that it's sounding good, which is perfect.
But in the future, I'm gonna edit also the low carbon version of the podcast.
And then I'll release the unedited version.
I will cut out the pauses maybe, or adjust the volume, but I'm not gonna cut out any content. Okay.
All right, it's good.
Perfect.
So you guys want to hear crazy? Well, it was kind of hectic at the time when it happened, but I decided that I was going to try using some black dye for my stabilized wood, and I bought like a liter of this dye, and I don't know what the name of this chemical is, but like if you buy industrial chemicals or like paint thinner or something, it comes in like a metal container, and it has like a plastic spout that's already like tucked into the container, and you got to pull it up so you have a spout and you can like pour things without spilling everywhere. So I don't know if you know these kind of containers. So I grab onto the cover of the container and I'm like, this thing's going to splash everywhere as I'm grabbing it. And I go to pull on it and the cover comes off and it splashes like you flicked a paintbrush in the air. So there's like little black dots all over my arm and my leg. And I'm like, fuck. There's a rag on the ground, this black t-shirt rag. So I pick up the rag and just, without even thinking about it, this all happens in like a half a second, wipe my leg and it fucking smears. My leg is completely black, like I had a full black tattoo down my leg. And I'm like, this isn't going to come off. But I fucking run up into my shop upstairs, and I had like some 99.9% alcohol that you use to clean like PVC tubes before you glue them together, and start scrubbing like crazy. And it took a while, but it came off. And then it's still like on the floor, on the tiles and shit near where I do my stabilizing. So you touch this little teeny dot and it turns into a dot the size of like a trash can lid. It's fucking stuff makes a mess. So this might be the last time I use black or any color dye. It makes quite a mess.
You were so close to doing accidental blackface, and then getting help would be really, really funny.
Oh, that was, yeah. I was like in the middle of wiping my leg down, and I'm like, shit, I probably have it on my face too. And luckily I didn't have it. Somehow I didn't get it on my clothes or my face. I just had it like all over my leg and my arm. Fucking shit makes a mess. So that's still in the stabilizing pot. Curious to see how it comes out.
It must be a very good dye though. Very powerful.
Yeah, it's like super concentrated.
Yeah, they usually are very strong colors and very intense. So you better wear gloves and long pants.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like, I wanted to try it out. I was excited to try it out. And then I'm like, just be careful. I don't spill anything. And the first, didn't even get the cover off and the shit splashed all over the place. But you've done color dye before, right, Albert?
Yes. That's why I know that it's very intense, the color. But only blue and red. That's what we did. We never used black. But I imagine black to be the worst because it's so intense and dark. But also the blue sucks. The red one, if you get it on your clothes or hands or skin. Or floor, for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wiped off the tile floor pretty good. Some of the like grout spots, you can see the spots, but it's a workshop, so it don't matter.
Mm.
But I think I'm getting lucky with this Emboina. Seems to be pretty easy to stabilize. The blocks are coming out pretty good. I think I sent a piece to Ben Camone, and he took a picture of it when he's opened the box, so you can see a piece if you guys have seen that post yet.
No, not yet. No.
Other than that, I've been working on the Patreon website this week and working on that the hex color chart that I told you I was gonna put all the colors of my G10 out and have like a hex color like swatch on the website so you can like match shit up. Sometimes people ask like what color the light brown is in Coyote. I guess people have a problem matching Coyote with the Coyote Kydex sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
But let me ask you something about your stabilizing process. So what kind of oven do you use? Do you have a lab oven or something? Or what do you use for drying the wood and curing the resin?
Yes, I have a vacuum oven, they call it, or a lab oven. It's just like an electric oven with a fan that pulls air from the chamber and blows it out the top, and you can like turn this dial to choke the air down a little bit if you want, or keep it completely open. So all the wood's been sitting for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months in the basement, and it's around like 13-14% moisture. And then I put it in the oven, started off at like 30 degrees and slowly turn it up to around 50 within like 2 days or so.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. You can tell there's no like moisture on the glass inside the oven, and it reads 0. So the first time I did it, I just did a short, like 7 pieces, just a quick stabilizing process to see if it really was all out. And it's working pretty good.
But how do you measure the moisture content in the wood? Do you have like a moisture meter, or how do you do it? Or do you weigh it?
Well, I have a moisture meter with like, it's like a little 2 prongs that stick out of this meter, and you stick it into the wood and it'll tell you the moisture content. I mean, it's not super accurate. Obviously, you're taking the outside, but
exactly, yeah, and you're only taking the moisture content between the 2 needles that go into the wood, right? Because that's where it's measured. So you don't know the moisture content inside the block, like in the center of the block, right?
Yeah, you don't. So. Yeah, I think that's why it's hard to get blocks in big stabilized chunks, unless you really have some super professional equipment where you can do a lot more than like the 3 or 4 bar that we would be able to do at home. We're actually really pushing the liquid into the block.
Yeah, but you have to dry it completely before you stabilize it, so it should have like 0% moisture content, right?
Right.
So the way we usually do it, when we started out, we weighed the wood, right? So we put the wood on the scale. Yeah, I did that also. And we crank up I mean, we've never used ammonia, but with walnut, you can do that because walnut can take the heat. So we use 100 degrees Celsius almost when we're drying it.
Yeah, the amboina will crack if you get it up too high, or it starts to warp on you if you heat it up too quickly, which is why you got to slowly increase the temperature throughout a few days.
Okay.
And then just the normal, the first couple of batches I did, I was weighing them. Like you said, you can weigh it and dry them out and keep weighing it and see until it stops losing weight. And then pretty much like the opposite when you stabilize and put it in the fluid and pull a vacuum on it, and then weigh them again. So weigh them before you actually put them in the fluid. Pull the vacuum on it, weigh it. Then I do it in the pressure pot, weigh them again. And I did that process, the vacuum process, like twice. Vacuum pressure, and then in the oven to cure. They never come out of the fluid. So I have a container that goes inside my pressure pot, and it also fits inside the vacuum chamber. So they never come out of the fluid. You don't have to worry about it pulling back in air.
How long do you leave them in there? Like in a, let's say, vacuum chamber and in the pressure pot?
The vacuum chamber, I let them run until there's pretty much no bubbles. I mean, there's a random bubble. If you sit there long enough, you'll see a random bubble here and there. That's why when I go into the pressure pot, and when you go into the pressure pot is when you see the most difference. Like coming out of the pressure pot, the volume of the stabilizing fluid like really drops way more than you notice in the vacuum chamber. And they don't float anymore after you get them out of the pressure pot, so they're pretty soaked.
Ah, good.
Even the first time, yeah. Which is going to be fun in the black dye, fishing out all the blocks off the bottom of the pot.
Yeah.
Gonna have to get like those rubber gloves that go up to your elbow.
If you won't use them, you will have permanent black gloves on your hands.
Oh yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you, Paul?
Why?
So you can laugh at me.
100%.
How much weight do they gain because of the resin?
They double.
They double. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's all dependent on the wood. If you did like a birch is like light as a feather.
I meant ammonia. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. I had some that weren't that great with the wood structure. So I took like 7 of those kind of blocks. That's what's in the black right now. I want to see. I don't even know how it's going to take it, or if it does take any color or not. We'll see. Either it won't take anything, or it might just come out completely black and you don't see anything at all. I mean, these are pretty much like a golden ambonia, the ones that are in there. Some chunky ones that don't have any red or color changes in them. We'll see how it takes the dye. And then I got 300 blocks of curly maple coming from Ryan from the Hustle and Grind podcast. I think he's got like 20 more blocks to do. He had, from the 300, he had like 20 blocks that had some cracks and shit in it. So he had to do another batch of 20, and he's got to clean them all up and send them out. Curly silver maple, I think it was.
Stabilized or unstabilized?
Oh, stabilized. Yeah, these blocks, especially the pricey ones, they go way better at knife shows. So I just keep slowly doing some batches. When it starts to get colder out here, I'm gonna stop because I don't want the temperature changes and shit. It's in a non-heated basement in my underneath my shop. We're just kind of getting a stockpile together for the shows. They're online, but wood's hard to sell online. It sells way better in person, obviously. You can pick them up and see everything. I think when I go to the knife shows, it's probably like 75% of my sales are stabilized wood blocks.
Are you doing any knife shows this year?
This year, I'm not doing any more. I was going to go to the Ipsits, but my daughter actually has her like school dance, the ball, the same day. So that was the last one I was going to go to this year. But unfortunately, I'm not going anymore. And my youngest daughter was also invited to the same dance. So
okay.
The 18-year-old and the 16-year-old will be at the same dance.
Mm-hmm. These Amboina blocks are pricey, man. Like
yeah.
57 euros, including tax. Holy shit. But they look awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I had somebody visit the shop last week, and when they saw them in person, he picked up 2 blocks to take home with him. So yeah, they look really cool. But if you look around online, they are pretty pricey. You can get even up to like $80 or so.
Yeah,
I like the black ones. Look really cool. It's kind of like a Stockbirche or whatever. What would it be in English? It's like the
spalted birch.
Spalted birch. That's right.
Yeah, they look awesome.
I thought I had put one in your order last time, and it was the same day I was taking pictures of them and shit. And I think I took yours out to take a picture and forgot to put it back in the box.
No, that was not in our box.
I wanted to throw it in there for you to try out next time.
No, we'd love to, yeah.
Well, what happened to Polly this week?
I was just admiring your Amboina birds on the website. They look so good. I mean, the texturing and everything looks insane. I think it's one of the prettiest woods that I have ever seen. So, last week I did a custom one-off build of my Alps model, where I now currently am trying to do, more interesting work sometimes, just to keep up the spirits and don't get too bogged down by production work. So I try to do some interesting blade finishes that are not available on the website, handle materials and combinations, and something, just to make the same knife but in just way different ways. So I posted the Iltis knife with the Grip X scales for sale, and it sold like in 30 minutes, which was really fucking awesome. Yeah. Now the headache is that the customer is from USA, so I will have to do the UPS only available shipping method, and we will see how that goes. I think this will be a great test run to see how the border duty custom thingy works in US side.
So he bought his material back?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, so I'm really satisfied with that. And I was working on actually updating my Varnas knife. I think we talked about this on the low carbon episode a little bit, that I was struggling with 3D modeling, and the software was pretty angry at me. So I put in the hours, learned more techniques, went through a lot of tutorials. And I must say, like 2 days ago, I made it the way that I wanted, 3D printed it. And dude, this is the most comfortable knife I have ever made. The ergonomics came out like from the third try with the proper techniques. Very, very, very good. Insanely good. And I'm updating the profile a little bit with more consideration. I'm making the blade bigger, and I really want to make this knife my the flagship knife that is the best that I can make, the most comfortable that I can make. And then maybe try to and play with lower price bracketing and making something that is not of a lesser quality, but of a nicer price point with a little bit less bells and whistles. So I'm really, really excited. And it was a big headache with trying and iterating over my current style and trying to make it go into the direction that I want, but yet keeping the same look of Baltic blades. So that's always a pain in the ass, but the last day I'm just full of joy because I love it. I love it so much and can't wait to make it out of proper steel and G10 on the handle. So that's a big win in my book, just because the last iteration took me like 3 to 4 weeks, I think, of just tinkering and finding out what I like, what I don't like, how it fits in the handle, and now having the next iteration. It's insane.
So what happens when the software gets angry with you? Like the tooling paths are going crazy on you? Or?
The tooling paths are actually the kind of easy part. Feeds and speeds are already, like a cookbook. It's the modeling of the shape itself. And I thought how I should explain it on the podcast, and I did not find a way, just because it's like the Coke bottle shape. But if you are a knife maker and you try to make a Coke bottle shape with, let's say, a big wheel, right? And the dips. You make the dips with a round wheel and they are concave, right? And this shape, it is concaved. It's a concave path, but the shape, it's rounded. And the roundness is continuous. So using previous techniques, there were a lot of requirements for the software to work properly. To render the geometry correctly, it needs to be all tangential and basically smooth lines. And with the techniques that I used, it was near to impossible. But now, with some YouTubing and just a lot of just trial and error and just playing and finding out how to use this tool, I'm so happy. I'm just really happy that it works. And just today I did some fine tuning of it and it's going like butter smooth. And I'm really excited to make other knives that use the same techniques to make some intricate shapes that are comfy, just comfy.
So like the combination of the like convex angle lengthwise on the handle and then the concave angles that are going towards the spine of the handle and towards the belly of the handle, like where all those things meet is where you get the problems getting them all smooth in one fluid motion.
Exactly. They are like, the software is like, this is not tangential to that, this is not tangential to this. You cannot like add a fillet here, you cannot add a chamfer here just because the two faces are meeting in a awkward angle or awkward position. And now it works. It really works. So everybody who wants to get into modeling, I highly recommend Fusion 360. It is free for hobby use and for if you want all the bells and some of the bells and whistles. It is not that expensive. I think it's around 500 euros per year. And it is way cheaper than something like SolidWorks, which is, I guess, 10 or 20,000 a year for a company, which is BS.
So yeah, for those programs, you pay like a subscription. Actually, you don't really own the software. You have it for a year with like tech support on it, and you have to keep renewing it every year.
I don't know if we have tech support here. I have never used it, but the community is insanely good. A lot of Insta machinists use the software. Some of them are migrating from bigger softwares. And it uses some fucking cloud functionality. This is how they justify, you have to pay a subscription. Software as a service. You don't own it. So that sucks, but you have constant upgrades, which is also sometimes a big negative. A big plus is that it is getting way easier to use with every iteration, but then sometimes old models, after updating, they stop fucking working, which really is a pain in the butt. But, I have all of my CNC machining files exported, and they are I just don't change them, because why change something that it is not broken? And yeah, so it sucks to pay every year that sum of money. So
especially for Poly.
Oh, especially for me. I was using the free software. And one of the limitations is when you are CNC machining, the rapid travels of your CNC are limited to the cutting speed. So basically, it is not moving fast when it is not cutting. Yeah. And I found a plugin on the internet that was hosted on GitHub that you can add, it's actually called an add-in to Fusion, which regenerates the tool path with proper speeds. But it worked sometimes it did not, and sometimes the machine traveled at rapid speeds while it was cutting, which is no bueno, right? So yeah, I was using that for some time, just with proven programs, because you can, without a part, you can just cut here and just look at it and watch it. But it is just a waste of time, in the sense that the estimated machining time is not correct on the Fusion's end, and you don't know how long the actual machining will take. And sometimes it showed it will take 3 hours, it took 1 hour 50. And sometimes it would be reverse. The Fusion says it will be shorter, but actually it would be way longer. And in my time, I was late to a few meetings just because of that, just because the machine was still running, and I was trying to go the cheap route, but paying for it, it was a changer in my whole.
It hurts the wallet, but it makes everything run a lot smoother, and you don't have to babysit the machine. You can do something else, like record this podcast.
Well, my friend had a great comparison, saying that a CNC machine, subtractive machining, it is like a 2-year-old, which you have to babysit constantly, because end mills might break, work holding might break, and you still have to be present unless you have a very good machine with very proven process, and you can do lights out machining. That is also possible, but not with the CNC router. And I still have to do the tool changes by hand. But to the contrary, 3D printing is like a full-grown adult. You just can press print, and 99% of the time it prints perfectly. So this is not sponsored, but I would highly recommend everybody who's looking into 3D printing, go and buy the Bambu Lab P1S. It is insane value for money. insane. 0 problems. I think mine is running for 1,300 hours already since I got last year. July, I think, so a little bit over 1 year, and it is flawless. It is just, you just create a model, press print, wait an hour, and you have perfect print every time.
What are you printing with your 3D printer? Like mock-up handles and stuff like that, or?
Oh, loads of stuff. Dude, I just said, I am printing like the tanks of my knives, like the full profiles, the full 3D handles. And this is so great to test out the ergonomics. The one downside is that you don't feel the actual weight and the weight balance, but to feel the 3D shape in your hand and that quickly without, any headache, it is just increase the efficiency of this process insanely. Just before I was doing like, you 3D model it, and then you have to run your CNC to machine all of the handle, babysit it, prepare the work holding, and then try it out. Something is wrong, and then you have to go and model it and then run the CNC program again. But with 3D printing, you can create a model, press print. While it is printing, you can work on the other iteration and do some changes that you want to, test out, compare, and to see what fits better. Which in like Coke bottle shape handles, it is, you can play with different depths for the top and bottom concavity. And that really changes how the handle behave in your hand. And you can have like multiple knives already stacked in one day and just try and see which you like the best, which is great. And of course, I print loads of trinkets, loads of adapters for hoses, holding my end mills, like small boxes that are, easy to organize. Mostly organizing stuff. It is just, I even use it in my household to do some, if you have an IKEA lamp, the small lamp, which has the on and off button on the cord, you can actually make a small holder for that and fix it to anything, like the side of the bed where the button is always at the same place, which is like a huge life improvement. Even at night, you can just, where it is, you can just press it. You don't have to look for the cord, and just basically holders for stuff. I'm basically printing boxes.
I saw some cool thing online, like a scanner, a handheld scanner, when somebody like scans the center console of their car, and then print out like a coin holder that like fits exactly into the car using this little scanner. I don't know how accurate it is and stuff, but there's so much stuff out there you can play with.
Oh yeah, this is like, I think I saw that video or something similar, and you can, even if you print it wrongly first time, you can always adjust it very quickly and just make it improving. It's like the constant iteration, incremental iterations, making it better. And the nice thing is, like, if you have like, where is a place of tolerance where you need to fit correctly, like 2 corners or 2 holes in a bigger piece that you are wanting to print, you can just print those small pieces to get the tolerances right, which takes like 10 minutes. When you nail that down, then you can print the whole print, which take, like a whole big print could take you a day or maybe sometimes more, depending how big and complex it is. And this is how you save time, which like on CNC machining is like, it would take way longer. And this machine is not perfectly accurate compared to a CNC machine. Of course, it's something like in the tenths of a millimeter, something +1, -1/10, but it is good enough. So yeah, I would highly recommend. And Keith, you know what I would highly recommend also?
Skills.
This show, my dear listeners, is sponsored by minihill.eu. They got the next kiln for you. Our good friend Baltazar is so grateful and so generous by sponsoring our show, but I am more excited about that just because I might get into his pocket and get one of those kilns for extra discount. Of course, I could use WFI at checkout to save 5%. And while I'm on the website, I could also buy heat treatment foil and heat treatment racks for efficient batch hardening. So thank you, Baltazar, and all of our beautiful listeners. If you want a heat treatment kiln, go to minihell.eu. And now, back to the show. So that out of the way, Albert, mi amigo, how was your week?
Good. Busy. I've been working on the Klingen for Gutes knife. Glued up the handle today. We'll send it out tomorrow. I know we're late. I think the deadline was yesterday, the day before yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
But why? Why? The auction is in October. Why is the deadline so early?
It's nothing of your concern. That was the deadline, and it was placed like 10 months ago. So you had time.
I know, but it is my concern because I just asked you. So, but I'll send it out tomorrow. So
the reason why we did that is exactly for this, because you're not the only one that hasn't finished that knife yet.
Okay, so how many are there?
You're one of two.
Okay, I
that
know
hasn't
who
finished it.
I know who the other one is.
So we have a little bit of time to get that.
I'm gonna bleep it out, but it's right.
No way.
Wrong.
No way.
I know that it's not done either, Keith.
Well,
I know.
Then there's three. I didn't even ask him. He wasn't my concern. I know he's gonna get it done before the picture time. No, we had one other maker that unfortunately sometime in the beginning of this year his father had passed away, and now his mother had fallen and she needed a hip replacement, so she's all by herself, and he's been driving to take care of her and then get back to the shop doing classes and making knives, so he's a little bit behind. He said he's about 75% done though, so I think
who is it?
It's gonna work out.
I'm gonna bleep it out anyway. Who is it? Okay, and all the other knives are done. I'm impressed.
Even the one from Alaska showed up before yours did.
Ours is done. It's almost. So just have to glue on the handle tomorrow.
Yep,
So,
we saw a picture of it today. I think.
Yep.
You had. I didn't even notice that the handle wasn't glued on. You need one more etching.
Yep. I wanted to do one more etching cycle for the copper Damascus because the blacks weren't as black as I wanted them to be, and then I just have to glue on the handle, laser engrave the blade and glue on the handle. That's it. Yeah, the handle's done. We made the handle out of desert ironwood, the one we bought in the US at Blade.
At Blade Show. Yeah.
And we made a true stone copper liner. Do you know what it is? True stone with copper. That's like
I do, only because I've seen the little bits and pieces that you had. I think you had some at the old shop.
Yeah, and we bought some in the US. So I think it's a resin-based material or some composite with copper lines in there. Mm-hmm. And we did what's it called? Buffalo horn front piece. So it's a 3-piece handle. Yeah. And I think the true stone with copper works pretty well with the copper Damascus. So it's very similar.
So it's similar to like a old style marble where you see those golden colored veins running through them.
Yeah, but it's copper.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you do any museum fit between the buffalo horn and the true stone?
No, I used a G10 liner in between. No museum fit. You mean because of shrinkage?
Yeah, I've used a little bit of buffalo horn, and it likes to sometimes expand or shrink,
but only very little. I mean, we use it like all the time with stabilized wood.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah, exclusively. Yeah.
Okay.
So all of our front pieces are buffalo horn on a hidden tang knife. So whenever there's something black.
Why do you choose that? Because it's so easy. The fit up is easier with that kind of material?
No, because it polishes so nicely. Okay. And you sometimes have these white inclusions from the horn, which looks awesome, I think. Mm-hmm. And we usually try to mill the slot right in the middle of the horn where there's these white parts. So you get a nice contrast when you have some other white spots left. So we just like it, and it feels very nice because it polishes so nicely. It gets very dark, so the blacks get very dark, and the whites get very white when you polish it. So it's an awesome material. And when you use it with stabilized wood, of course it depends on the type of wood you use, but usually it has the same or almost the same shrinking factor or expanding factor. So it works pretty well.
I only hate the smell of it.
Yeah, the smell sucks.
While you are grinding it. Burning hair.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
And the true stone, isn't it really brittle and hard on your abrasives?
No. it's mostly resin. I think it's not a stone. I think isn't it? Is it? I think it's a resin based stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I saw maybe it's reconstructed stone.
Yeah, that's something else.
Like that.
That's something else. I think. So true stone is a composite material for knife making and other crafts made from crushed natural stone pigments and acrylic resin. So
thank you, Albert GPT.
it's Google AI overview.
Gemini.
Yeah. So as I said, it's a composite, and mostly it's resin. So it grinds very easily, it drills very easily, it mills very easily. So it's a nice material to work with. Of course, if there is crushed natural stone in there, it might be harder to drill and harder on your abrasives. But the one we use is with copper in there.
I mean, I saw the build picture in our group chat. It looks so good. The pattern is like chef's kiss.
You mean
it's lined up
really awesome?
The pattern's lined up perfectly with the blade. Yeah.
Yep.
You mean on the blade, so not on the handle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean that's our thing now. The chevron. That's why we chose it for the Klingel for Gutes knife. The drawback is that you can't grind in a taper, because then you would grind off all of the pattern. Yeah. So you have to use thin stock, so a thin piece of steel, to make if you want to do a chef knife.
And forging, I guess, would really distort.
Yeah,
the
forging
pattern.
wouldn't work because exactly, because it would distort the pattern too much.
It would be cool though if the rolling mill could do a distal taper.
But then you would also distort the pattern.
Yeah. That's why I don't forge.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: if you could use the rolling mill to do a distal taper with the chevron pattern rollers, then it would work, right?
That was my idea.
Okay,
but you'd have to get it like almost to the final shape and everything, and just do one quick pass through that with just get the distal taper and the pattern to match up. Then you can't mess with it anymore.
Yeah.
Be tough. I'm sure it could be done though.
Yeah, sure.
But do you do multiple passes with the
No,
chevron
it's just
pattern?
one. No, it's just one pass, and then you have to be done, because you can't put it in exactly the same way twice, right? And then you would have like two chevron patterns or an offset pattern. And you know why I know this? Because this has happened to us. So we used a piece of steel that was too thick at the end, and we had to put it in and put it back out. And when we rolled it back, it distorted the pattern, because the rolling mill rolled in a different chevron pattern. So we had this axis, not the chevrons, but they overlapped, right? Because we put it forth, we put it back and forth. But now we know how thick the material can be. Yeah.
That might be interesting if you can flip the whole bar in the other direction and chevron pattern over again, and if you get some kind of X pattern.
Yeah, you would get some kind of X pattern, because this has happened, and we have a video now on Instagram page where you can see that it is an X pattern. I mean, it also looks nice, but it doesn't look like a chevron pattern anymore. It looks like
chaotic.
Not chaotic. It looks like Dama still has a pattern that's similar to this one. Not raindrops, but like square raindrops.
Okay.
You know
like
what I mean?
Diamond shape.
Diamond shape raindrops. Yeah, something. It looks something like that.
Is the video on Salzburg Messerschmitt?
Yes. It's the one with
the rolling mill, I guess.
Yeah, with the rolling mill. I'm gonna edit all of this shit out. The process stuff. So don't worry. Yeah, the one with the rolling mill. I can see the rolling mill on the preview.
Guessed it.
And then you can see that in the video that we put it in too thick. That's what she said, by the way.
I was waiting for that. I thought it was going to be poly though.
Put it in and put it out. I was containing myself. He dropped such bangers.
At the end of the video, when we use the rolling mill, you can see that that there's an X pattern.
It's just like a few seconds only at the very end.
Yeah, but when we flatten it out on the power hammer and on the surface grinder, you can see it, and then you can see the pattern, this X pattern at the end.
I mean, it doesn't look that bad.
No, it's nice,
but it looks it looks a little bit chaotic. Like the chevron pattern looks very intentional.
Yeah,
looks really good.
So this is what we did.
Did you have any big announcements, maybe, of something really important?
I know what you want to talk about. Yeah. So I've done a lot of clay shooting last week as well.
Motherfucker.
When did you have time to clay shoot but not record a podcast?
Exactly.
Yesterday.
The begrensweer
Saturday.
from beer.
Saturday. I was clay shooting yesterday. No,
You guys have
I guess. What? Yeah, we have a
Do you guys
range.
have a range right near you?
Yeah, it's like a 15 minutes drive. So there's 5 different stations or 4 different stations. So they have trap and skeet, and then they have this. It's called Jagdparcours, so hunting style clay shooting, where the clays come from all different directions, random areas. Yeah. Because it's super hard, to be honest. When I went there for the first time, I missed almost all the clays, right? Because it's so fast, but you get used to it, and it's super awesome. It's very expensive though, but it's an awesome sport, I think. But of course, you get frustrated when you see all the professionals train there. I mean, but still, you have to train to get better, right? So
I was just reading about I can't remember. This is horrible because I can't remember her name, but back in the like Wild West time, there was a famous woman that was like really good shot, and she used to do that over her shoulder, looking through a mirror, which is insane.
yeah.
She would like travel all around to different towns and stuff and do these shooting shows, shooting over your shoulder, looking into a reflection of a mirror.
When was it, in the Wild West or when was
Yeah, it's like Oakley, something Annie Oakley or something like that. Can't remember her name. All the U.S. guys are like cringing right now because they definitely know this one.
Google says it's Annie Oakley.
Yeah, that was it.
Little Sure Shot.
Gonna have to Google it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
she did a lot of stuff for the gun community back then and for women into those shooting sports. And she actually, I think she was in one of the a few battles with like a whole. She was leading like a whole team of women that were in battle
Mm-hmm.
that she had trained to shoot and everything.
That's so American.
Yeah.
But I mean, in clay shooting, I only watched it from a side, right? What's like for me looking at it, it seems so fast, and it is almost you're like a turret. You are targeting it and following it. Is it like you are building up the reflexes, or is it like the expectation, or just you know how fast it is going, and then you are way more on target?
Yeah, I think it's mostly instinct and muscle memory. It's like I think it's very similar to grinding, actually, because you don't think about I shoot the best when I don't think about what I'm doing, to be honest, because there's there's all kinds of people there, and they tell you have to be like 4 meters ahead of the target when you shoot or pull the trigger and everything, and this doesn't work for me at all. Because then you follow the target, and then you pull in front like 4 meters, and you think you're there, and you hit the trigger, and I miss like all the time when I do it that way. So I usually miss when I try to do it systematically, and it's the same with if you think too much when you're grinding, I think, because then you're distracted. Or freehand grinding, I mean, of course. Yeah. So I just don't think about it. So yeah, I have no system.
I think in English it's called a pigeon or a clay pigeon. And there's
Clay
like
pigeon, yeah.
yeah, there's so many factors. It's not like just going across the sky in an arc. It's like going out and then it's going in an arc as it's coming up and coming back down. Then you got wind factors, and then you got your gun, how it's sighted, and you might be shooting with a different gun. I mean, so many different.
But it sounds so hard, like to hit the very first time, because you don't know by how much did you miss, how far ahead you need to aim, and like I guess the first few hits ever are the hardest ones.
I think so, yeah. I don't. I mean, my eyesight is pretty bad, so I don't see the what's it called?
Buck.
Yeah, the buck. Yeah, I don't see the buck. Buck. I think buckshot, right? So the
yeah.
I can't see it, right? And people tell me you've missed it like by half a meter to the left or whatever, and I simply don't see it. So I have to do it instinctively. And since my eyesight is so bad, sometimes I see the clay pigeon so late that it's become so hard to hit it, because the further away it gets,
it's fluorescent orange.
yeah. Yeah, but still there's like wood, and it's not orange. It's orange on one side and it's black on the other side. So on the bottom it's black. So if it's coming out with the black side facing you, and there's like a forest behind it, I simply don't see it, right? So and then it disappears. And then the trainer says you should have hit it over there already. You have to hit it sooner or pull the trigger sooner. And I say I always say I didn't see it. So what am I supposed to do? When should I pull the trigger if I don't see it? I mean, there's no point. So
oh no. So we want to say that almost blind man is shooting.
I'm not almost blind, but I have an appointment at an eye doctor in October, so I'm gonna get new glasses because I need them, not just for shooting but also for driving and working and stuff. But mostly for shooting. That's why I'm going. Fuck work, fuck driving. Shooting's more important.
You are working to gain money just to go shooting.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
It is.
But like the trainer, he actually sees where you like aimed and shot.
Yes.
Like he can see the shot flying.
At least he says so. Yeah. And I believe him.
It's a bullet. What is he, Neo?
No, it's not a bullet. Like it's like small
a spray.
Small, yeah. Mm-hmm. Small round balls, like shitloads of those. So a buckshot, right?
Even harder to see. But small balls.
You see like a gray area.
Yeah, you see like a patch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but the trainer does. Or at least he says he does. I mean, I don't know if he actually can see it. I can't. No way. We have to do it now because it's a summer sport, right? So the shooting range closes down during the winter. So whenever it's only open 3 days a week. So it's open from Thursday to Saturday. So whenever the weather's nice, I want to go. I want to go 2 or 3 times a week. So when the weather's nice, because it's gonna be over soon. So I think that the range closes down in October or something, and then it's closed till May. So no shooting for half a year, or no clay shooting for half a year. Then
then you got to start all over again.
Come on,
long pause.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I'm already looking for an indoor shooting range, or like a what's it called, shooting like digital shooting range, something. But I guess you wanted to talk about something else, didn't you?
Yes, we are almost an hour in, mostly talking about clay
let's
shooting.
Let's talk about it next week then.
Oh, fuck it.
Leave it for the Patreons.
Fuck it, no knife talk this week. No, I guess you wanted to talk about the DNA knife.
Yes.
We posted a few pictures and videos last week. So this made quite an impact. I didn't expect that. So where should we start? Should we start at the beginning?
Of course, please.
Yeah, that's all the stuff that I don't know a lot about, the backstory and...
Yeah, the backstory. I mean, I'm friends with Jörg Buch, who has been head chef of the Icarus 7 in Salzburg for, I think he has been head chef for 14 years, 16 years or something like that. And he came up with this idea to make a knife for the Patreon of the Icarus 7, which is a 2 Michelin star restaurant here in Salzburg. And the patron was Eckart Witzigmann. So he came up with the idea of the Icarus 7. And the Icarus 7, the idea behind the Icarus 7 is they invite like 11 top chefs from all over the world to design a menu for the Icarus, and they cook the menu then. So usually the top chef comes to Salzburg, shows them how it's done, and then they do it they cook the menu like for a month or so. I think usually it's a month. There's 1 month a year where they do their own menu, and that's in July to August, because there is the Salzburger Festival there, so this big festival, and that's when they do their own menu. But usually it's 11 different menus from top chefs all over the world. And that's the idea, or was the idea, of Eckart Witzigmann. And that gained them 2 Michelin stars. So if you're not familiar with Michelin stars, that's probably the most important rating of restaurants in the world. So there's 1, 2, or 3 Michelin stars. 3 Michelin stars is the maximum. So there's very few restaurants that have 3 Michelin stars. 2 Michelin stars is already very good. So is 1. So yeah. And it's very, I mean, it gets very expensive when you want to go to a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Eating there is super expensive usually. And you have to book a table in advance, like half a year, usually at least. The Michelin guide says that a 3 Michelin star restaurant is worth visiting wherever you are. So when it's worth going there to eat, right? So it's worth flying to the UK to go to a 3 Michelin star restaurant, right? And a 2 Michelin star restaurant is like worth driving for, let's say, 4 hours, 7 hours, or whatever they say. So that's a rough idea of the criteria.
Okay.
And the Eco 7 is a 2 Michelin star restaurant, as I said. And Jörg was head chef there. And Jörg came up with the idea to make a knife for the patron Eckart Witzigmann. Eckart Witzigmann is one of the most influential chefs in the world. He was the first 3 Michelin star chef in Germany, in Munich. And he's one of, I think, a handful chefs of the century. I think there's only 5 or so. And he wanted to build a knife for him. So he came up with this idea that we should honor his achievements by making him a knife. And he also wanted to incorporate some of his biography and some of his DNA. And DNA is not just a metaphor, but actual DNA, right? So that's why they took some blood from him. So he agreed, of course.
Yeah.
So Jörg told him about the idea, and he really liked it. So that's why they met him, and they took blood from him with a physician, and there was a lawyer present, and they've done all the paperwork. So that's actual his DNA, and then blood has to be preserved somehow.
You can see this in the video that's on Instagram that was posted, and you guys were tagged in where they're actually taking the blood sample and preserving it and stuff.
Yeah, and then they preserved it with, I think, champagne vinegar or something. And then we put it into a vial, like a glass vial. And so that's the DNA part, the actual DNA part. But then we also wanted to incorporate some of his biography, so where he was trained at, where he grew up and stuff. So we went to France, by the way, this project started a year ago or more than a year ago. So it was quite a project. It took a lot of time because we went to France, to the Auberge des Îles, which is, I think, also a 2 or 3 Michelin star restaurant, and that's where he was trained. And we took some wood from, there's this river, and next to this river there's a bunch of willows, and one of these willows fell down because of a thunderstorm, and we took some of that wood with us back to Salzburg.
That's on the property of the restaurant where he was trained?
Yeah, that's on the property. It's in the garden of the restaurant where he was trained at, yeah. And then we cut the wood to size. We dried it. We stabilized it because it was all rotten. I mean, it was an old tree that fell down because of a storm, and it fell down because it was all rotten inside because it was next to a river, so it was super moist and stuff. So we stabilized it, and that's what we made the handle scales out of. And then we went to Bad Gastein, which is in the Alps, and we took some, because that's also where I was trained. I mean, he was trained at quite a few restaurants, right? Like all top chefs were usually. And we took stones from the river, which comes down from the mountains. And we took some stones with us, and we inserted them into the handle scales. So there's some actual DNA in there, and there's like this wood from France, and there's this stone from Berchtesgaden. So that's the handle, and that's why it's called DNA knife. And then the shape of the blade is like a huge European chef knife, or French chef knife, or German chef knife, wherever you come from, what the preferred terminology is. But it's a standard European chef knife. And that was his favorite knife form and style. So he gave to Jörg, when Jörg first pitched him the idea, he gave him he had this old Dick knife. Do you know Dick, the company, the German knife company?
Yes.
Yeah. And he gave him his knife and told him that this was his favorite form. But it was already sharpened so many times that it was just...
It had lost its form.
Yeah, it lost its form and was way too small. So I did some research, and then I found out what the original form was, because it was like 5 centimeters smaller already, because it was sharpened like 1 million times within the last 50 years or 40 years or something. So I took the original form, took our handle design, because I didn't like the original handle. design, and then we forged a mosaic Damascus, like an explosion mosaic Damascus billet, and we made the blade out of that steel. And it's called DNA Knife Edition Eckart Witzigmann because we're building 10 of these. And every knife comes with a wooden box, with a knife stand in there, with a book, hand-bound book, a video, and all this stuff. So that's why there's, I think, almost 10 people involved in this project. So there's a film crew, there's a photo guy or 2 photo guys, then there's a text guy, then there's a lawyer, then there's one guy who does the box or makes the box and everything. So there's a lot of people involved, and of course it takes forever.
This book is his biography, or what is the book?
No, the book is it documents or it shows how the knife was made and
the whole process.
The whole process from taking the blood sample to the forging process to the handle making process and stuff. So of course there's nice text in there because the text guy is really, really good and did a lot of research. And we were texting a lot with the text guy because he didn't want us write something that was false or incorrect.
I think the knife stand, from what I can tell with the picture, had like a cutout so you could see the whole design of the Damascus through it also.
Yeah, exactly. There's the knife stand, so the knife block has a glass front and a glass in the back as like a window. And you see the Damascus pattern and you see the laser engraving on all of these knives because we're building 10 and there's his signatures under, as laser engraved under, and there's the 3 Michelin stars are under and the number. So it says like number X of 10 because we're building 10 of these. And on the backside, there's our logo. So it says Salzburger Messerschmiede on the backside.
That's really cool. It ties in with him also being from at the Salzburg restaurant that they were selling it at.
You mean the Hangers?
Hangar 7, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they bought one. The Hangar 7 bought one. To be honest, there's only one left. So, and the last one is being pitched, I think, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Also, I think 2 or 3 Michelin star restaurant. And we're pretty positive that they're going to buy it. So, and if they don't, they don't. So number 1 gets auctioned off at the Wings for Life Foundation in October at an event. And Eckart Witzigmann also got one, but the other 8 we sold. 7 at this point.
So tell us, when you say that knife will be pitched, what does that involve? How does that process go?
What process? When they pitch the idea to Witzigmann, or
no? Like you said, there's only one knife left, and that one will be pitched soon. It's not just like anybody can go and try and buy this knife. There must be some like elite group of people or something that have the opportunity to purchase it.
The way how it works, I mean, we didn't do any advertisement so far, but a few people found out somehow. And they wanted to buy it. So they contacted the project leader, which is Jörg, and they told him that they've heard about the knife and they want to buy one. For instance, I mean, it's not a secret anymore because he posted it on Instagram. So Juan Amador from Vienna bought one. Juan Amador was the first 3 Michelin star restaurant in Austria. And he heard about the knife and he's a big fan of Eckart Witzigmann and he bought one to show off at his restaurant in Vienna, the Amador. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And from then on, I mean, people kept asking.
A little bit backtracking. I really wanted to ask about the construction of the handle itself because you kind of can see easily can see the blood container, and it is a full tang knife, right?
Yeah.
So it's were these handles machined in any kind of way, or
I milled a slot into the tang, and then I used what's it called, round or half round mill to mill slots in this case on both sides on the inside.
But these handle skills, they were already shaped, right? Or were they just blocks?
No, it was blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of on the grinder. I shaped them on the grinder, which sucked because I once dropped one of these knives, and the handle scales were still loose because I used like screws to hold them, and I broke one of the glass vials.
Oh. Yeah. Blood all over the floor.
Yeah, and all over the handle scale.
Oh, it was not an empty?
No, it was a full one.
I thought it was a mock. No. I was just joking.
No.
Poor man lost blood.
I broke quite a few of these.
So
you had some extra?
Yeah, we have shit.
Throw some clear epoxy over the floor so you preserved his blood stain in the shop. You can tell everybody about it.
We have way more blood than we need. because someone expected me to break quite a few. So rightly so. Yeah.
So what are you going to do with all of the blood now that you have?
I mean, I still have to build these knives. I've only built 5 so far.
And you have 5 to build?
Yeah, and I have 5 to build. Yeah, 5 more.
So some of them are sold, not even finished.
Yes. Yeah, but we didn't get the money. So we're getting the money once we're done.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been ordered. And the last one is getting auctioned off in October. So.
And I hear you.
It sounds...
You ran into some problems with one of them warping. There was a little bit of a fight going on.
Fuck me, yeah. I mean, there was a fight going on with quite a few of these because I think we've broken 2 during the heat treatment process, and because these mosaic Damascus knives, sometimes they warp like crazy because they're very thin. So we forge them down to I think 2.5 millimeters, and then there's this slot in there for the vial in the tang, and it creates a weak spot, right? Because there's so little material left around the slot, so it creates a weak spot, and some of those broke, and with the last one we sold, I had to use the Ultima Ratio, the carbide hammer, because it warped. It worked, yeah. It warped like crazy. It had an S shape after the heat treatment, and I used the carbide hammer to correct it, and then I ground in a very, very aggressive distal taper. That's what I wanted to say. Because you have to grind out the marks the carbide hammer makes, right?
Yeah.
So, but I had to use it because it was an S after heat treatment, so which sucked because I was texting Andy. I was staying in the shop late, and I told Andy the blade warped like crazy, and then I texted him a picture of the carbide hammer on the blade. I said, "Fuck it, let's give it a try." And he said, "No, let's do one more shim temper." I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna use the carbide hammer now." I'm so frustrated, and it worked, luckily. And it's a massive blade. I think the blade length is almost, I don't know, 28 centimeters or something. So you need a lot of steel for that because it's 65 tall, so 65 millimeters of the overall length is like 40 something centimeters something. So you need shitloads of mosaic Damascus for that, which sucks because you end up with a lot of cutoffs and with a lot of wasted mosaic Damascus material. But still, we should have pitched a different steel because mosaic Damascus takes forever to forge.
The total length is 40 something centimeters.
I think including the handle, it is. Yeah, it's huge,
insane. Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty substantial handle as well. So the handle, I think, is 13 or 14 centimeters or something.
I mean, I watched the reels, but I kind of did not get the size of this thing. And like the chef is actually using this size of knife.
No, he's not using it. No one's using this knife.
No. Like the one that he gave you for the shape. It's one
of the biggest knives Dick makes. So one of the biggest chef knives.
Are they still in business?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Of course.
I need to go look.
I think it's one of the most popular brands for chef knives, actually, and their reputation is pretty good. So
now you mentioned that you had used stones in the handle. I didn't notice that in the picture. Was that to like counterbalance the weight and stuff, or are they visible?
No, they're visible. You can see the stone on the left side of the handle. It's been inserted into the handle.
Okay.
Which also sucked because I've never ground stone before, and grinding stone and drilling stones sucks. I mean, luckily we have our landlord is a stonemason, so he had this stone company before he closed down his business, and I could ask him how to drill out or drill stones, how to grind them and stuff. So that was a coincidence that I had someone close by I could ask on how to do it, and he helped me with these things. So the first drill bits I used, he gave them to me, but they were out pretty quickly, so I had to buy new ones.
Yeah, I just looked it up. I mean, the size of these knives, pretty big.
And I mean, the hand sanding they've all been. I mean, we can't use our satin platen for that because all of these knives have plunge lines, so we have to hand sand them, which suck. Hand sanding alone took me like a whole work day because you want to have a very high grade finish to make the mosaic Damascus pop. As I already told you guys, but Keith stopped the recording. So
yeah, Keith is.
I was getting tired of listening to you talk yourself out the whole time. No, I'm just fucking with
it. Okay, I can stop whenever you want.
Just one question, Albert, about the satin platen. It's a nice name though, satin platen. But could you have used a like a waterfall attachment for that?
Sure. I can't do it because I can't do it with our satin platen because our satin platen does not have like a 90-degree angle where the belt runs over. So we have like, what's it called? These wheels. And I only can use it when we're not doing a full flat grind without plunge lines, so to speak. So I can't do it when I have a knife with plunge lines because it rounds off the plunge lines and it makes them uneven and the radius is not correct and stuff. So I had to use the normal flat platen and I had to do a lot of hand sanding.
A ton. Like the size of the blade and the width of the blade is, I mean, it took you, I guess.
Yeah, 7-8 hours or something. I forgot. I lost count. I mean, I was so frustrated because I wanted to do a perfect hand sanding on that one. So, I mean, everyone knows how to do a perfect hand sanding. You have to change the angle whenever you change the grit, right? So you can see all the scratches from the previous grit. And it takes forever if you do it that way. Because there's no cheating then. So if there's a scratch in there from the previous grit, you can still see it. So if you only do like a lengthwise hand sanding, but you can't really distinguish between certain
scratches.
Grits, right? Because if it's 240, 400, 600, whatever, it's hard to distinguish them. But if you change the angle when hand sanding, you see them all. You see all the scratches from the previous grit. Yeah. And I wanted to do a perfect finish for that one, so that's why it took so long.
So it took you this long for
one knife? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No. Oh, no. I mean, it's a great build, but Jesus Christ, that's a lot of elbow grease.
Did you see how... Did I show you a video of how the mosaic Damascus pops and how shiny the silver parts are, the nickel steel parts are? I mean, it's awesome, right?
You did not. You were clay shooting.
Okay. I'll send you a few pictures from the last one.
And maybe we can make them available on Patreon.
The pictures, of course. I thought you were talking about the knives. We cannot make the knives available on Patreon.
No.
For $1, I mean, you can enter it.
Just a raffle.
It's a raffle, yeah. Of course we can. I'll send you some and the video. And when you look through the handle scales, I milled like a 3mm slot, so 3mm wide and I think 20mm long, and on both sides, so on both handle scales. So when you look through the handle scales, you can see the vial in there with the blood, and there's like an air bubble in there. It looks like, what's it called? A level. Yeah, like a bubble level, spirit carpenter's level. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice secondary functionality. I guess very expensive level though. I guess, was it hard to line up these slots in both handle scales? I guess the bolts for the holes for the bolts also need to match up perfectly.
They do, but it wasn't that hard. I mean, I had to play around with fixtures because you have to mill it, so you can't, because none of these woods is like perfectly square and stuff. So I had to play around a bit with how to fix it to the mill. But the way I did it, I milled both handle scales at once. So I used a very long mill to mill them at once after I drilled the holes already. So I used pins to align the scales. Then I put it onto the mill and I milled both slots at once. So actually that's very easy to do.
Look at you using jigs. You should have done freehand milling.
No, I didn't use jigs. I used them. What do you mean jigs?
Fixturing, right?
Yeah, holding. But that is that a jig already? Okay, then I used
Of course it is. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the same with grinding, right? It's just
that's true.
It is holding just the knife.
Yeah, in that sense, it's correct. Yeah, I used the jig. So, I milled both handle scales at once, so they align perfectly.
Looking at the handle scales for me would be the bane of my existence. You have this small rim for the capsule in the middle, the small rim on the handle scale, and when you are 3D shaping the handle scale on a grinder, you need to get the ridge as consistent as possible, I guess, and like on the other side, it shouldn't be like even a fraction of millimeter thinner because it's so easy, like, to notice the difference. So the shaping of the handles, I guess, were intense.
And not just because of the vial and the slot that's in there, but also because of the stone. Because the way I did it when I started out, I ground the stone first and then I put the stone in, but that's not a very smart way to do. Now I only do a rough grinding on the stone. I shape the stone as much as I can, and then I put the stone. I make the stone a bit shorter, and then I put the stone in, and then I grind the wood. That's still a bit taller than the stone, and I grind the wood on both sides to match with the stone surface. But it's a lot of hand sanding. I mean, not just the blade, but also the handle. It's a lot of detail work and stuff, and which sucks, but it's a nice project. I mean, whenever I'm done with one of these knives, I text the head of the project, Jörg, like shitloads of pictures, and I say another one's done. I'm so glad.
But for the handle skills, you were mainly working on the grinder,
yes,
right? Freehand shaping. And did you follow up with any files just to fine tune, or it was straight
it was
to
just
hand
sandpaper. I mean, it's wood, so it hand sands. You can do a lot of shaping with the right type of sandpaper. You don't have to use files. I mean, I do most of the shaping on the grinder because it's way faster, and I'm way more efficient on the grinder than by hand.
I guess if for the handle skill, that would have like very sharp corners or concrete details. With the sanding with the paper would wash out sometimes the lines. But if I remember correctly, the handle skills are
they're smooth and they're rounded off anyway, so I don't have any sharp corners. So
nothing to wash out.
No.
I mean, the project is insane. For me, it is one of the biggest and most insane projects that I have ever heard. I heard of other makers using like just meteorite or some exotic material, and you're like, ooh, that's very fancy, high profile client. But in your case, the client is one of the highest possible levels for a chef knife. The details and the small intricate things that you have done, like the journey to France and using the stone, the blood, and the willow, it is just an insanely intricate project, super high profile. And do you have any idea what would be the next level of project that would be like level above of this one? Because I cannot think of something that is better. What I'm trying to tell you, this is your high peak, and everything
it's all downhill from here.
yeah. You need to quit knife making.
You've jumped the shark.
No, I won't. No. I mean, of course, I get what you're saying, but still, I mean, to be quite frank, for me, it's just another knife. Of course, it was a very huge project with a lot of stuff that I've never done before, like grinding stones, using blood in the handle scales, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just another knife. And what makes this personal for me and is that it's such a personal knife for Witzigmann. So when we gave him his knife, he was in tears because he was so overwhelmed what we did. He didn't know about this, right? So the only thing he knew that we needed some blood from him and that we're going to build him a knife. But he didn't know about that we were going to France to get wood from the Auberge de Ile. He didn't know that we were going to Bad Gastein to get the stones and stuff. So he didn't know all about this. But when we gave him the knife, he said that that's so personal. And I'm so glad I was part of this project, and he was super happy and thankful.
It's so good. It's so good that you told him that you were building him a knife, because if somebody comes with a film crew and takes your blood,
what was he thinking?
He knew about the blood part, so he knew about that the blood is going to be somewhat incorporated into the knife or built into the knife. He knew about that part, but he didn't know about the wood, and he didn't know about the stone and the book that we made, or the text guys, the photo guys made, the video, and it's all professionals who were working on this project, and none of these people got anything. So we all did it because we wanted to do it, right? So none of us got any money out of it so far. So, and we didn't even, when we started the project like over a year ago, we didn't even know if these knives would sell. So worst case scenario would have been that we just make one for him.
Passion, baby. It's all
and
about
it pays
the passion.
off sometimes. So
you just have to roll the dice, right? You did not know if they are going to sell or not.
But I agree. I mean, Witzigmann is one of the most influential chefs ever. So he's, I think, one of 5 chefs of this, what's it called, century, like Jahrhundert. And he's one of the most influential chefs ever. So it's certainly a high point in our career. That's for sure. Yeah. But it's not going to be the last special projects we're making. Definitely not.
I'm sure it's not. And I'm sure you'll get some business your way from some of these other people that have seen this knife and want something, maybe not to that caliber, but maybe they just want a knife for their home use or something like that.
Yeah.
And recognize your name and know that there's somebody local that can do that.
I mean, we could have probably made more money with these knives, because we had quite a few people who told us that we made a few mistakes, that we're selling them for too little money, so we're too cheap, and that we're not making enough of them. Because when we were in France and we were having dinner, there was this tax guy, and this tax guy is a super rich guy. He's super professional and everything, but he said we have to do 100 of these. So he was sitting next to me after like few bottles of champagne and wine, and all of us were not really drunk, but we had quite a few glasses, and he was so greedy. He said we have to make like 100 of these, and we have to make money, and so. And I said, do we have to make 100 of these knives? Do we? And he said, no, you have to. I said, no. And that's where the number 10 comes from. I said in France, I told him, I'm going to make 10 and then I'm done. So there's only going to be 10 available, and either it's 10 or it's not with me. So if you want to have some bladesmith who makes 100, go find someone else. I'm not going to make 100 of these, because I knew that this is going to be very time-consuming project, and if we had done 100 knives, I mean that's almost too.
No, you'd go insane. You'd be in a mental institution.
You'd go insane, and that's all you're gonna do for 2 years. So you're gonna make these knives for 2 years, and I'm not willing to do that. So I want to do something.
Sometimes it's not always about the money. You know, it's the same thing with the stupid Forge and Fire thing. You can have somebody stamp out 100 knives, but it's not going to be the same as these 10 handmade knives that are, I mean, you use the best of the best steel and mosaic and the whole, I don't know. I think that would dilute the whole project if you had 100.
I think so too, yeah. And it makes it special that there's only 10. Imagine if you own one of these knives and the last knife gets auctioned off at the Wings for Life Foundation event in October, and I mean that's I mean, there's super rich people there, right? So I don't know how much money they spend on one of these evenings and how much stuff they buy at these auctions, but I guess it's in the millions. And imagine you own one of these knives and the last knife gets auctioned off for, let's say, 50 grand because it's for a good cause and stuff. So this ups up the price of your knife, right? So your knife suddenly became worth much more, because you might have bought it for X amount of money, and then the last one gets auctioned off for, let's say, 50 grand or something. So, and you know that there's only 10 out there, and there always will be only 10 out there, so there's never going to be more.
Yes, I think even at the end, that number 10 knife is just as important as that number 1 value wise. I would say that those are equal. Just like you said, it's the last one, and that's it.
But we made a mistake. We should have kept the last one after the auction. See what I mean? So if the last one at the second to last one gets auctioned off for, let's say, 50 grand, and then you can tell everyone we still have one left, but now it's become more expensive because the other one was auctioned off for 50 grand.
Greed is creeping
on you.
No,
it's not. That was my cousin. I wouldn't have thought about this, but my cousin came up with the idea. He told me, "You're stupid, man." I said, "Why?" He said, "You should have kept the last one after the auction."
the extra rare one with no numbers. This was the in case something happens to one of them, there's one left over with no numbers.
I mean, a number gets laser engraved after everything's done, even after sharpening. So the number is the last thing that gets laser engraved on. So nothing can happen. And that's what I needed the, what's it called, gator skin for, because we're preserving it with gator skin. And it works awesome.
Did you say what steel did you use in the
15 and
mosaic?
20 and like 02, so the dark. So our standard was Damascus steel combination. So it's not stainless or stain resistant. It's like all Damascus knives.
Will you be at the auction for the last
Good
night?
question. I don't know. I don't want to go. So I try to, with this project, I try to get out most of the appointments because it's always very official and there's too many people there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I haven't talked to the project lead about this. He usually says that I should come, and I usually tell him that I don't want to, and then he says, yeah, then you don't have to. Then I say, well, then I won't.
Jesus, you just hate
wear
money.
my work boots and shop clothes to the auction?
No, that's what I told him. I'm not gonna dress up. If I have to go, I will go with boots and shorts.
you just hate money and networking and business opportunities. Like, this is the room where you want to be. This is the money room.
Now come on, I don't want to do that. I don't want to schmooze with these rich people and stuff. Come on. I mean, if they want to find us, they can find us.
If you do go, can you like photobomb the picture with gator skin for me in the hand?
I can, yeah.
Security will fucking shoot you before you hit the ground.
No,
that's an amazing project. I'm super happy for you guys. It's really cool.
Same here. Big props, Albert. It is really an insane project.
Now you know what we've been working on, and now you know why I've broken blades with the carbide hammer.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were all mosaic that you broke. That would be a key thing to say.
No, they weren't all mosaic. I've broken other ones as well. So,
just to give some feedback for Keith's hammer, I have broken 0 blades, so it might be not the tool, but the user.
Of course. Yeah.
Are you actually using the carbide hammer on CNC blades?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had some warp blades after heat treatment, especially the big ones that I made, and they had slight bends. Just actually for the same reason as Albert told, due to the cutout in the handle, because I lightened my handles and cut out the steel inside. And while heat treating, it gets sometimes a little bit banana on you. So light taps and a lot of taps.
Well, actually, I used mine this weekend too, but it wasn't on a knife. I made one of those coffee scoops that we brought back from Blade
nice.
Show. And I used the carbide hammer on the copper, so there was no breaking wrist on that one. Came out.
But that's
cool.
a good point, Polymater. So if you use a carbide hammer, light taps. And a lot of these. So you have to make a lot of indentations to correct the blade usually. So that was actually when I first broke the first blade. I was hitting too hard with the carbide hammer.
Mm-hmm. Just started cold forging with the carbide hammer. It's banging out. Dun, dun, dun. And it's easier to grind out the divots when they are shallow.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And much less risky, obviously. Yeah. So kids, if you use a carbide hammer, slide taps only.
There you go. I think that was a good ending to this week's episode, the DNA story.
Hell yeah. Close down, boss.
We're going to shut it down. Thanks to all the Patreon supporters. If you're not already a Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com and search under the easier new name, High Carbon Podcast. And we appreciate all of our supporters. We're going to try and get these names out onto each episode's list, where I'm working on trying to figure out how to get Red Circle, which is our podcast provider, to put these into the show notes automatically for us. So if you do have a Instagram page or a website, it will be clickable with a link. And next week we're gonna have a guest. It'll be a surprise for all three of us because I'm not sure who it is yet, but we'll find someone. All right, guys, we don't have an outro yet, so See
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.